Okay, so this is what I'm going to invite everybody to do. Is everybody sitting down right now? Yes? Just give me a quick thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to have everybody stand up. I'm just going to give you a minute. We're all going to stand up. And this is really just to bring up the energy. I know it's late at night. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on. You know, some of you are back to school this week. So I want to make sure that we're all getting ready to do this and to get pumped up and excited. All right. All right, so this is what we're gonna do next. So we are gonna put our hands on our hips like this. Hopefully you can see me. And it's something called the superhero pose. And what the superhero pose does, it actually helps bring up your energy. It actually lowers your stress. Don't you feel a little stressed sometimes when you gotta give some sort of public talk or a speech to your classmates? You get nervous, right? So this is a way to reduce that stress. And what it also does is it helps you elevate and brings up your courage. So it makes you feel more confident, makes you feel more courageous, ready to do things, and just ready to be excited in front of other people to deliver a message, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just hold this for 2 minutes. It's one of the things that I've done for years, delivering workshops and classes and speaking to people around the world. It's one of the ways I get confident. And the one thing I get nervous about when I'm speaking, or what I used to get nervous about when I spoke in front of people, was really around, you know, how do I make sure that I bring my best self to the table? And this is just one of the activities that I do when I'm getting ready to deliver a speech. But the other thing it also does for everybody, it helps you remember things. And who doesn't want to remember things a little bit better? Do you guys want to remember things a little bit better? Yeah, I see a couple of people's heads nodding.
Yes.
Good, good.
I want to remember things better.
Good, good. So this is a great way, just before you go into a class, just before you start your school, just by getting into this pose is going to bring up your energy. It's going to bring up your confidence. It's going to bring up your courage, and it's going to reduce your stress. All right, good. We're just going to hold this for another 30 seconds. Good, good, good. Just keep holding it. Superhero. Make sure you stand up tall. You got your chest is up straight, and you just feel strong. It's almost like you have a cape on the back, and it's just flapping like this back and forth, and you're just having a good time with it. And if you want,
like a diamond.
Sorry?
I feel like a diamond.
You feel like a diamond?
Yeah.
I guess you can look like a diamond too, because you're almost in the shape of a diamond, and that's okay. So ideally, we just want to hold this 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7. Everybody, a big smile on your face. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, excellent. Everybody take a seat. We're going to get started. Who feels energized now? Who feels a little bit ready to get going? Is everybody ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, good. I see a couple of yeses on the chat. So excellent. Thank you for participating. And this is really what public speaking is all about. It's really around getting up there and being your best self and presenting your best self. And one of the things that I found when I first started getting into public speaking, I used to be really nervous. Does anybody get nervous when they're doing public speaking?
No, I get a lot of nervous.
Not really. I talk a lot.
You talk a lot?
I talk a bunch at dinner time, but at other times I'm like a ghost and not saying anything.
All right, well, good. So wherever you are with public speaking, there's always room for improvement. And one of the things that I found as a public speaking professional is when I get up there and I get in front of people, it's a whole different experience for me. And it starts with energy. And actually, this is the way I would start all my classes. It's just with a little exercise to bring up your energy so we can increase our confidence, increase our courage, reduce our stress, and increase how we retain and keep information. So it's a great way to do that. So what we're going to be covering today in today's lesson is we're just going to do a quick introduction. We're going to talk about why public speaking is important. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the fears that people have over public speaking. And I'm sure some of you might have the same fears. So it'll be a good discussion. And then we're going to talk about some of the foundations of a speech, really basic. We're going to cover just the basics today. And I'm going to give you a little assignment to take away to just work on. Does that sound like a plan? Everybody good with that? Question for everybody. Why is public speaking important? So just quick question, everybody. Why is public speaking? Vivian, actually, if you want to put your hand up, then I can know who you are. Vivian, why is public speaking important?
Public speaking is important, and because like you have to talk like fluently and stuff.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ian. Roger, what about you? Why is public speaking important?
I think public speaking is important for you because you want to coordinate to the world like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It helps you coordinate what you want to say. It helps you organize your thoughts, your ideas. Absolutely. Thank you, Roger. And Charlie, what about you? Why is public speaking important?
I think public speaking is important because it helps us communicate and like kind of present things easier.
Yeah, no, excellent. Why is public speaking important? And there's a lot of reasons why public speaking is important. A big part of it is because it's a way to communicate your message. It's a way to get your ideas across, and it's a way to share concepts and ideas with people. And I know, some of you already talked about this, Vivian, Racy, you guys talked about this already. It's a great way just to be able to express yourself. So public speaking gives you the ability to stand on a platform, whether you're on video, on a stage in front of your classroom, to be able to share your ideas. And when you're able to share your ideas, it actually helps to do a few different things. It also helps you improve, and this is what's, research has told me from a public speaking perspective, it improves your research skills. When you're putting your presentation together or your speech together, you have to do research.
John?
Yeah? What do you know about me so far?
That you speak a lot. I just met you.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, so it's definitely a way of sharing your ideas, your thoughts, and it's a way of connecting with people. What I wanted to do, and I kind of missed on this step before we get to this next one. Actually, and here's the other reason why public speaking is important. It's a way to boost your confidence. It's a way of, getting in front of people and feeling good about speaking. And Justin, I know you're taking some public speaking classes already. When you speak in front of people, how do you feel? Justin, you still there?
Yeah, I kind of feel nervous, but not really that much anymore.
Yeah. So were you nervous when you started speaking and then it got better as you practiced your public speaking?
Yes.
Okay, good. And and this is for everybody on the call. A lot like you, when I was younger, I used to be terrified of public speaking. I would run away from my classroom when I knew it was time to do a speech in front of my class. I was just nervous and terrified. It was the scariest thing for me. And what ended up happening is how I started to get better was just by practicing and delivering more speeches. And what happened a few years ago, I got into this habit of delivering a lot of speeches, a lot of presentations. And what happened with that is my confidence started to build. And now I can speak in front of anybody at any time, to any audience, including you. I'm very happy and excited to be here with all of you, just to share some of these concepts and ideas. So confidence really comes from just practice. And the more you practice, the more confidence you get. So what I want to do before we go into the next section is I want to go around the room and just get a little bit of understanding about you. Who are you? And what are maybe 2 or 3 things that you enjoy doing? Would that be okay? Would it be okay if I got an introduction from you in terms of who you are?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So maybe Justin, we'll start with you. Just give me a little bit of background of who you are, maybe 1 or 2 of your favorite things that you like to do.
I'm Justin. I like to play hockey and play video games.
Excellent. Way to go, Justin. Hockey and video games. Excellent. Isaac, what about you?
My name is Isaac. I like to swim and play video games too.
Nice. Hey, another swimmer. I'm so excited. I'm not the only one. Good stuff. Renee, what about you? Renee and William.
I like to dance and swim, and my name is Renee.
All right. Thank you, Renee. William, what about you? I see you're there as well. Does William want to speak?
I'm not really in the class, but I'm just.
Oh, okay. No worries, no worries. Okay, Karina, what about you?
My name is Karina, and I like to read and skate.
Nice, good stuff. Good, good. I see the chat's very active as well. Roger, what about you?
My favorite thing is just playing video game, and in video game, my favorite things is Prodigy. And you might not know that Prodigy is like a math game, and another called Pokemon Go.
All right, good stuff. So math games, video games, a combination of different things, right, Roger?
Yeah, video games, just.
All right, good. I think everything in here is really good. And this comes from the research that I've done. Just as a speaker, some of the things that I tested, and I've asked people, one of the questions I used to ask as a speaker on stage when I was going through my public speaking at the beginning is I would ask the question is, who came here to see me fail as a speaker? And I would raise my hand like this and I would ask the question to everybody. Does anybody know what the answer is? Does anybody want to guess what the answer, what people responded with? Do you think anybody raised their hand when I asked the question?
No idea.
Yes, I think maybe a lot.
So here's the thing. I've done it in rooms of like 200, 300, even 400 people. And I asked that question. Who has come here to see me fail as a speaker? And nobody raised their hand. Because here's a couple of things. When it comes to public speaking, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength to speak in front of people. And, for the most part, people respect you when you get up in front of people and speak. I know it's one thing to do it at school, but anytime you get up in front of people to speak, that's when you start making a change and impact. So here's the truth. So people will, I don't know how to remove all these annotations, but people will always cheer for you when you're speaking. So if people are here to listen to you speak, it's because they want to learn something. And the truth is they wouldn't be like you guys are here in this classroom tonight because you want to learn something, right? At least that's what I'm thinking, or at least that's my assumption that you guys you're here because you want to learn something new and different. So as a speaker, as you get up in front of people and you start to share your message with them, what you'll start to find is people will start to cheer you on. People will be excited about what you have to say and the message that you want to deliver. So as long as you come from a place, and this is what you have to remember, public speaking is never for the speaker. Public speaking is always for the audience. So when you're sharing your message with people and you're sharing a message that's going to add to their life, that's going to add some value to what they do, that's when they get excited for you. And that's why they listen and pay attention to you. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, and I love this one, people will always want to hear your thoughts and ideas. So people want to hear what you have, right? Somebody mentioned earlier that you do a lot of research. You already, I think it was, I don't know if it was Roger or Justin, somebody talked about already doing public speaking a lot. So you're doing a lot of research, you're trying to find a lot of information, just share it, just so you can share it with other people. And the truth is, when you share those ideas and thoughts with other people, they learn something from you as well. And when they start to learn things from you, that's when they can start making changes in their own life. So you're delivering a speech to make an impact. How many people feel like when you deliver a speech, you're teaching something to somebody else? Anybody? Show hands. When you deliver a speech, do you feel like you're sharing information with somebody that's adding value to them? Yeah? Vivian, I see your hands all the way up here. So excellent. Thank you. So everybody shares an idea and a thought, and you're always contributing to other people. Thank you, Charlie. I see your hand up as well. So when you share your ideas and thoughts with people, and you're coming from a place where you genuinely want to share with people, that's when you really start to add value. Okay. And here's the other truth. And this is one thing that I see a lot. People will look at you as courageous and brave. It's one of the things, not everybody's comfortable public speaking. They say it's one of the scariest things people can do. And, when you get up in front of people to speak, people respect you for that. So as you go into your public speaking, and you guys are still young, like you still have so much opportunity to get in front of people, to make an impression, to make a good change in the world. You know, just by sharing your ideas.
Can you erase that black blob? I can't see the word between the two A's.
Let me see if I can clear my annotations.
There should be an annotate on the bar, and then click the button, and then there's a clear button.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you. I'm learning so much from you guys today. This is amazing. Thank you, Adele. Is that good? Adele, you're good? William, you're good? You can see that?
Why is there grammar? People will look at you as a courageous and brave. Why doesn't it say person?
Sorry, where are you looking? Look at you as courageous and brave. Yes, you're right. I should be courageous and brave person. Good.
But it says you as a.
People look at you as a courageous and brave person. Correct. Thank you for that. Good. You know, you guys are paying attention. Thank you for checking my slides and making sure that they're okay. All right, so we're going to keep going. Is that okay? So does everybody feel more comfortable when it comes to public speaking?
Yes.
All right, good stuff. I just lost my mouse. Here we go. Now just give me a second. Sorry about that. Okay, good. So there's three elements to every speech. Does anybody know what those three elements are of a speech? Vivian, your hands up. What are three elements of a speech?
Can I just take a guess?
Sure, go ahead.
Confidence, fluency, and reliability.
Yeah, so those are all important when you're delivering a presentation and a speech, but there's three elements that make up a speech. Anybody else want to take a guess at what those three elements are when it comes to?
I want to.
Audience,
Okay, go ahead, Roger.
First, I think it will be the introduction, then the speech, and then the ending.
Yeah, good stuff. Way to go, Roger. So yes, there's three elements, and you think about it like the cookie on the screen. So the cookie on the screen has the top, the middle, and the bottom. And that's exactly what your speech is, right? So when it comes to your speech, there's three elements. The first element is really just part one is just the introduction. Does anybody know what goes into an introduction? I know some of you already do public speaking.
What's your name? What's your name?
Yeah, you can definitely put your name in the introduction. Anything else that you want to
introduce yourself?
An attention catcher.
Yeah,
Something
attention catcher for sure.
hook.
Sorry, just one at a time, please.
Hook.
Sorry, a hook. So you want to make sure you grab them with the hook, something that's going to make them want to hear more, right?
Mr. Ribeiro,
Yes.
I think that another thing that's important for the introduction is that you add like what you're going to be talking about in the speech. So like the people kind of know what they're going to expect.
Good stuff. Thank you, Charlie. Anybody else? What else goes into your introduction? So we got the hook, we got your name, we got about the introduction of what you're going to be talking about. Anybody else?
I got a comment about the introduction, what you're going to talk about. Sometimes it's like in descriptive speech where you cannot like tell. No, I forgot what speech it was called, but you can't tell your place.
Okay. Sorry, what kind of speech was that?
Persuasive speech. You can't tell your place.
So you can't share your position in a persuasive speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. So yeah, no, definitely there's there's a lot of different things that go into a speech, and whether it's a persuasive speech, it can even be a debate, it can be any kind of speech, any sort of presentation. So your introduction, which is really the beginning, is really around what your topic is and what you want to share about your topic. So depending on what you're going to be talking about, you want to lay out your introduction so it actually grabs people's attention. And you talked about, and somebody mentioned this already, I think it was Charlie, where you want to have a hook. And a hook is really to draw people in terms of, you think about it like a movie, right? Like a movie trailer. And does anybody ever watch movies? I love movies. One of my favorite movies.
And I watch some trailers.
Sorry, and you like to watch what?
love trailers.
What movie have you watched?
So I've watched a couple of different movies, but one of my favorite ones is Coco. Has anybody watched Coco?
I have.
Yeah, Coco's a great movie.
I have.
I also
And you think
watched
about the
Coco.
beginning. You think about the beginning of the movie for Coco. So who was that, Roger?
Yeah, I watch a Detective Pikachu.
Oh, Pikachu, nice. All right,
Detective
so okay, great. So let's just go back to the introduction. I want to make sure I cover these things before we wrap up today. So your introduction is really an attention grabber. And the way I think about an introduction is essentially tell people what you're going to talk about at the beginning, but you do it in a very quick, short format, right? And we did this today, right? So everybody introduced themselves, you introduced your name and one of the activities you like. It's a quick little way of just getting into the habit of practicing your public speaking. And it's, I feel like I'm in a room with a bunch of students that really have a good handle on what public speaking is already. So definitely the first part in any speech is kind of, you think about it like a cookie or a sandwich, is you have your introduction. And everybody will always ask me, how long should my introduction be? Does anybody have any guesses how long your introduction should be?
Maybe like 3 to 5 sentences.
Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, that was good. So it all depends on how long your presentation or your speech is going to be, right? So if your presentation, and here's a formula that I like to use, I'm going to share with everybody. Is that okay? Can I share my formula with everyone? Okay, so the way my formula works is really like this. So your speech, if your speech is 10 minutes, your introduction should be 1 to 2 minutes maximum. That's your introduction. And then the main part of your speech should be around 7 to 8 minutes. Okay. And then that means the last part of your speech, which is, we'll talk about this in a second, which is your conclusion, should really be around 1 to 2 minutes. So you want to do 1 to 2 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes, and then 1 to 2 minutes, and that'll be 10-minute speech, right? Because you just want to give a quick little overview in your introduction and your conclusion in terms of what you're talking about, but the big part of your substance, the big part, the meaty part of your sandwich, or the delicious stuff in your cookie should be the stuff in the middle, right? So that is, the second part of your speech is your content, the pieces that go into your speech. So depending on what topic you're talking about. So today we're talking about public speaking. We're talking about some of the basics. And the way I broke out this presentation is kind of sharing some of the things, some of the fears that people have, how to overcome some of those fears, and some of the basics of public speaking. So the content part is really the meaty part of your speech, where you want to put a lot of your information. And I have a couple of rules around content. Does anybody want to hear what some of the rules are when it comes to?
Yes, we want to. I want to.
Okay, thank you, Roger. So the way I like to do it, and you think about, when you're putting your speech together, you're putting different points together to support your speech, right? So you could be talking about a school presentation, you could be delivering a workshop, you could just be talking to your classmates about something and you want to break it up into a speech. Your content should have, the way I like it, the way I normally do it, depending on how much time I have, is, I try to put an odd number of points. So an odd number of points means I'll put like 3 points, 5 points, or 7 points, depending how long my speech or presentation is. Does that make sense? So you want to have an odd number of points. Amy, it looks like
odd?
So what ends up happening, it's a great question. The reason why you want to put an odd number of points, it actually helps with retention, right? So it helps the audience member remember your points a little bit better. And it also allows you to, in your introduction, you can quickly go over the 3 points that you're going to talk about. So for example, my name is John, I'm a public speaker, and today I want to share some ideas around how to feel more comfortable speaking, how to get over some of the fears and some of the key content inside of a speech. That's how I would open up my speech. And then I would go into my 3 pieces, which would be overcoming the fears, how to speak confidently, and then the structure and the key components within a speech. And then when I wrap up my speech, I just wrap it up with my 3 points. Well, I talked about my this, and this, right? It just kind of makes it easier because then there's more rhythm and flow when you're delivering your speech. Does that answer your question, Amy? Does that make sense to everybody, why you want to have an odd number of points within the content of your speech?
Not really.
Not really, yeah. Not
really. All right,
Yeah.
so here's the easiest way to remember this. It just helps other people remember it easier. That's why you want to put the odd number, okay? That's the easiest way to do it. It just helps people remember your content better. So is there anything else when it comes to content within your speech?
What do you mean by odd number?
Odd number, so like 3, 5, 7. Make sense? So those are odd numbers.
What are those odd numbers for?
So they're the points within your content of your speech, right? So when you're
my public speaking teacher taught me that.
all right, good. So you know this already, right? So you just want to make sure that you put the points at like an odd number of points because it'll help your audience remember your points better. Okay, make sense? All right, so we know the first 2 parts. So we have our introduction and we have our content. What's the third part? Does anybody, I think I gave it away already, but what is the third part when it comes to your speech? What's the third piece of your speech that you need?
And then
The conclusion.
The conclusion.
Good stuff. So yes, the conclusion. Did I miss something here? All right, so good. So the conclusion is really your wrap up, your summary of what you talked about. And the way I like to think of my conclusion is tell them what you already told them, right? So you think about it this way, and here's a formula that I use as well when it comes to public speaking, is my introduction is I'm going to tell them what I'm going to tell them. My content is I'm going to tell them. And then my last part, which is my conclusion part, is tell them what I told them. So essentially, you just want to recap all the different things within the speech, right? So we talked about those 3 points that you want to cover. So those are the things that you want to share back with the audience. Just doing a quick recap. I mean, I already gave you a formula in terms of how it works. 1 to 2 minutes if it's a 10-minute speech, 7 to 8 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes for your conclusion, just to make a quick summary. And the other thing I like to do, and it's something I call a call to action. In my conclusion, what do I want people to do with my speech? Ideally, when it comes to your speech, go ahead, Amy.
Want them to, they want to do it, read it again and again, or like hear it again and again.
Yeah, excellent. So definitely hearing your speech again so they can learn from it is one way of, is a call to action. But when you think about your conclusion, you want to think about it this way. What do you want people to do? What do you want people to think differently? And what kind of action do you want them to take? So if you're sharing
that one, I remember.
Right? So it just makes it easier for you to remember to do something so you can share that information so they can take it and actually apply it somewhere. Right? So today, are you guys, in terms of what you've learned so far, is there 1 or 2 things that you've picked up from today's session? I see you're thinking. I see a couple of people. Charlie, I see your hand is up.
So one thing that I learned today is like compared to the speech, how long the introduction, the content and the conclusion should be.
Excellent. Good stuff. You see? So when you're delivering a speech or presentation, you want people to take your information to learn from it so they can do something with it afterwards. So it's really having a call to action. So sometimes what I'll do with my speeches is what's 1 or 2 things that you learned today? And Charlie just answered the question, right? So you want to make sure as you're delivering your presentation and your talk to people that they're walking away with information that they could use. Okay, Charlie, you have another question? I think your hand is still up. Or is it up?
Oh, I forgot to lower it.
All right. Okay, good. So excellent. So we've already covered some of the key points. your conclusion or the last part of your speech should be really just recapping, reviewing what you talked about in your speech, and just having people take some sort of action with that. So if you're doing a speech on the environment, you want people to be more conscious about the environment. One of the things is, as you think about what you're going to do next, think about the environment, right? So there's a variety of different things that you can do with this. So excellent. So here's your assignment. And this is a piece of homework that I want everybody to take away and just kind of practice with.